All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. As I continue to figure out what exactly I'm doing here.
We got a
Uh,
mystery guest going on there.
yeah, I guess so. Trying to like get this window out of here, man. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Can you see me? Can you see me?
I see you.
Yeah, I
I
see
just
you.
I just thought that third window somebody was gonna start speaking in the background.
To the window, to the wall. No.
Walls. We'll just leave the rest of the lyrics alone.
Yeah, we'll leave it alone. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. It is Hector V and myself, OV1, as we get set for Saturday night main event. I was gonna say Saturday Night Live, but that's a different show. Um, yes, Saturday night main event predictions that's happening at midway through our segments. But our motto, or shall I say, our topic or our theme is no other than, let's put it up, shall we?
Yeah.
I lie, I cheat, I steal. And those were the famous phrase of no other than the WWE Hall of Famer, Eddie Guerrero. And yes, he is deeply missed, man, because who knows what would have happened if he was still alive and with these storylines happening here. Oh man, this could have been great. So
Mhm.
great, man, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. It's life, you know what I mean? But we cherish every moment of it, and I'm just happy that they still have him. I think he's like, how you say it, just like CM Punk when he was gone for so many years and people chant his name, CM Punk. You know, we always remember Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. Yes, we do. We always gonna remember him. I think mainly more for his antics and his character in the WWE. I think he had a lot of great success towards the end of his career there. Not saying that he didn't do nothing, before WWE, but it's not, what they say is not how you start so much, but how you finish. Yeah, and I
Right.
think he had a very strong finish to his career. So
Well, unfortunately, him passing away and everything else, again, it's like how far could he have gone with his set, with his character, his role, and everything else to play out what it is today. But speaking about his role, someone similar like Dominic Mysterio, we'll be talking about him and what new chapter he could bring for Judgment Day, or really for himself, right? Because things starting to get more interesting with Judgment Day and possibly a newcomer. And then we're also going to talk about Jay Uso. Is he the right champion for the WWE?
right.
There's so much that's on his plate right now, and can he concentrate on his match this Saturday as we discuss his future match with Logan Paul in our prediction show? But it's speak before we even really get started with all this, right? Once again, you're tuning into the HHW Show podcast. You can visit our website, hhwshow.com. We also have the Wrestling with Character, and that's happening on June 1st. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm gonna be there. This is gonna be an awesome show. Okay, so this June 1st, Wrestling with Character ain't just talk. It's not talking to talk. I'm not doing that. These guys are stepping in the ring, and yes, the real one, formerly known as Enzo Amore, will be there. And we had Mr. Kurt a couple of weeks ago giving us breaking news on his opponent. So I'm telling you, it's you can't teach that. That is delivery for a real one, right?
Yeah.
You can't teach that, and that's definitely happening on June 1st. And again, from the mic skills, them shaking up the VFW and everything else that's going on, it is spectacular. Please get your tickets Sunday, June 1st. You go on to hhwshow.com, and there's a link, or you go straight to wrestlingwithcharacterlive.com. Get your tickets because the show starts at 5 p.m. Actually, the pre-show, excuse me. Which once you enter, you're already in the show, right? The characters are all in, and you go interactive. There's arts and crafts, there's food, there's merchandise, and then of course at 6 p.m. the show does start. It's the VFW Post 511 in New Britain, Connecticut. Pro wrestling like you've never experienced. So please tune in to that show. Also, you can see the screen here. My kids, take a picture with the real one, and the match was really outstanding. But all the matches are outstanding, and the fans do interact while they're wrestling. So it is awesome, awesome, awesome. And I'll speak more of it. I can. All right. But hey, listen, this past week on the HHWshow.com was the Fantasy Team Cup. Okay. And I actually am very proud of this because we started with 16 best tag teams in the WWE. We're talking about the Road Warriors, which was the Legion of Doom, the Bushwhackers,
Mhm.
the Heart Foundations, the Natural Disasters, the Dudley Boys, the Rock and Roll Express, the Steiner Brothers, the Wild Samoans, the Hardy Boys, Demolition, the British Bulldogs, Strike Force, the Harlem Heat, the Mega Powers, Edge and Christian, and Money Incorporation. And so, with all that, who will be the champions of the WWE Fantasy Tag Team Cup Challenge? In round of 16, I made that list. The ones that moved forward in the quarterfinals was the Road Warriors, the Hart Foundations, the Dudley Boys, Steiner Brothers, Hardy Boys, the British Bulldogs, the Harlem Heat, and Edge and Christian. Moving on to the semifinals was the final four. The Road Warriors defeated the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys defeated Edge and Christian. This match was a steel cage match. Okay. Each round, it was something different. I forgot to mention the tornado match for the round of 16. The quarterfinals was the tables match. The semifinals, a steel cage match. And then we led on to the finals, the TLC match, the Road Warriors versus the Hardy Boys. Hector, now I don't think you know the results, but I need to ask who would win this match in the finals? Tables, ladders, and chairs match: the Road Warriors or the Hardy Boys?
You're looking at two great tag teams there in the finals in the TLC match. My personal opinion here, I will give this to the Hardy Boys. It's not all about strength, brute strength. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to use your smarts sometimes. And the Hardy Boys would know going into this match that they're out muscled.
Mhm.
Okay. But, you know, they know how well they function in this type of environment. And that's a key thing. When you are, in an environment that you're so used to, okay, then it comes fairly easy for you to know how to adapt and overcome against any opposition that comes at you. Doesn't matter if they're bigger, they're better, they're stronger. It doesn't matter. The Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, don't know anything about TLCs. And see, so as time goes on, will that play a factor in fatigue? You see, can the
Mm,
Road Warriors actually, you know, with all that muscle, all that strength, actually have stamina to survive a match that long with this kind of match? The Hardy Boys have proven it. I would give the edge to the Hardy Boys in this one.
right. And look, the Warriors went through the Bushwhackers, the Hart Foundations, the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys went against where were they at? What is yeah, the Demolition. I mean, look, they're the second longest title champions, right? I think the New Day went ahead and broke that record, but
Mhm.
let's see because again, today was an announcement, and you can also check on the hhwshow.com, and it was no other than you're right. The Hardy Boys, they went ahead and won this tournament. So it's fascinating, fascinating. More fantasy tournaments next week. Stay tuned to that because it was the women's tag team, fantasy tag team, top 16, and they went at it. And that will start on Monday. And of course, next Thursday, you'll get your results. So stay tuned, especially in between comments that I've made in between them, like who had advantage of what could they do. It's fun, and I feel like it's more entertaining doing it by writing a script, a short script about it,
Right.
than actually playing on the video game.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but hey, speaking about video games and stuff like that, I think this is a game in which if I was Solo Sokoa, I'll be extremely careful because, man, Solo Sokoa for me, his character is normally I say, yo, he is whacked, okay, but there's just something off. Like he's not really himself. Like he's trying to put himself out there that he's a leader, but I feel like deep inside he's trying too hard to like become OTC,
Yeah.
and it's not happening. And you know who's seeing this? Jacob Fatu reads through him.
Big time. I mean, you see a whole different Fatu ever since became champion. He's already said it. He's proven it. He don't need nobody to do this. And for Solo to keep saying that he had part of it, he's part of the reason why he's champion. He's got to be careful. Choose your words wisely. You know what I'm saying? The more you open your mouth, the more you're looking silly. You're
Yeah,
looking like a fool.
definitely, definitely look like a fool. And then Jacob Fatu didn't need any help in his match to defend his United States title, and Jacob Fatu did not approve it. You
Right.
know, but he always finds a way to get involved, and sooner or later there's going to be a mistake. And I'm telling you, if Jacob Fatu loses that title because of Solo Sikoa, if I was Solo Sikoa, I'd take a ticket. I'd be like, yo, I want absence of leave. I needs to get out of here. I'm taking a long break.
Yeah, no, the vehicle that has all gas, no brakes because Yada Amin is coming after you. You better get in where you fit in.
But he ain't fitting in on this one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And speaking about fitting in, is Jey Uso fitting in just right as the world heavyweight champion? Is he the true champion of WWE?
I don't think so. Honestly, I ever since they put the title around him, I think they're just overworking him as a champion. Um, I don't like it. I don't like the angle that they're going with it. You're just throwing too many people at him at one time. And yeah, I guess he wants to be a fighting champion. You want to see a fighting champion,
But
but you have
doesn't
to.
every good guy wants to be a fighting champion to prove a point?
Yeah, but there's a but you have to know your limit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have to be able to pick and choose your battles wisely. Just because you're champion doesn't mean you got to go out there and prove everything. Okay, you already proved it to the world by winning the title. So now let's take a step back and pick and choose your battles here because you start picking every battle, one of those battles is going to bite you in the butt.
Well, between the difference between him, Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes, whenever Cody Rhodes got in the jam, he always found a way to get an upper hand. Yeah, at times he went down, but he always found a way to get back up. And it's always like before even the real match starts, right? But with Jey Uso, man, this guy's been he's been flat on his back for every battle outside of competition. And I'm
Uh,
scratching my head like, how you champion, bro? Like you
well,
haven't shown me that you got skills to stand up.
yeah, I was going to say,
I
we
mean,
seen John Cena getting laid on his back too. Ever since the both titles is changing, both champions seem to be laying on their back more than anything.
yeah,
Uh,
okay, I understand John Cena, but Jey Uso, I mean, you coming into the rescue to get your ass whooped.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can understand somebody gave you a sneak attack and hit you from behind, but this guy, like, they see you coming, you see them, and you still go down.
yeah. That's to me, that's not showing that he's a real champion. I mean, a true champion is not going to go out like that every single week. And
Yo, CM Punk and Sami Zayn, one of them could have been a better champion than Jey Uso.
I think so. I think so. Honestly, this is
They were
just to me.
battling 2-on-2. Where was Jey Uso at? I'm just saying. Oh, let's leave this guy alone because he got a match against Logan Paul. The winner goes against Gunther, but yes, Seth Rollins is overseeing everything because his vision, and I see his vision. SummerSlam at MetLife Stadium in August. Seth freaking Rollins will be the world heavyweight champion. Mark my words.
Oh, I'm not going to sit here and disagree because he's a visionary, right? He's a
Mhm.
revolutionary. There is a reason why he's setting this all up. He's
The
setting it up.
only way it gets ruined if Sami Zayn is still standing.
Well, that I mean, I have a theory on that. I mean, it's just there's something brewing behind that we're not looking
Well, I mean, we're not talking about Austin,
right.
so we got to eliminate that. Okay. But even like Austin Theory, who's probably going to disengage with Waller, um, but on this one, I just like, why would you waste your time to really like open your heart and tell Jay Uso, dude, no matter what, I got your back. I'll be there for you. You know what I mean? You're not alone.
You know,
They
people
got the
say,
handshake and everything else. You
okay,
think he will cross over to Seth Rollins?
I think he is. I think he is. I mean, look, they've had their beef before.
Yeah, I
Okay,
understand that.
okay, and I still feel like there's the old Sami Zayn in there, the one who's always had a conspiracy theory about things. I just feel that if he lines himself up with Seth Rollins, he's going to go places that he's not going right now, and that
Well,
could
if he lines up with him, he ain't still going to be in the same spot. He is not the world heavyweight champion.
no, but I mean he,
That's the only thing he needs is the world heavyweight championship.
but that's for Seth Rollins, so he can oversee and rule Monday Night Raw. You cannot start something and not have that title around your waist. He needs another piece to the puzzle because he sees what Logan Paul is trying to do. He sees what Gunther's trying to do. He sees what CM Punk is doing.
Hmm.
He needs that other piece. And in order to do that, you have to pull that piece away from somewhere. And I'm
Not
thinking Sami Zayn is that one.
well, Seth Rollins did say that Braun Breaker only wants to do is hurt him. He's not aimed for the title.
Right.
I'm gonna say I disagree with Seth Rollins. I think he's putting too much in his mouth that he could chew. Because you're talking about Braun Breaker, the two-time Intercontinental Champion. All of a sudden, he's in line with Seth freaking Rollins. Now, if I was Seth Rollins, I'd be careful because, dude, like he's had moments. Now, don't get me wrong. He knows how to talk. He knows how to convince people. I mean, he got, Paul Heyman, but Paul Heyman, he's the king of this. He is the king. And if I was to pick who's the real visionary, it's not Seth Rollins, it's Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman will disengage and grab Braun Breaker with him and go off like he did with Brock Lesnar. And he'll be the world heavyweight champion.
Then
I
why
do believe that.
then why even go the route that putting him with Seth Rollins in the first place? I mean,
But
this
look,
is
look, look at the history of Paul Heyman, though.
oh, I get it. He has a bad rep.
Right.
Everybody he lines himself with he always turns his back on them.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. And so that's why I don't think he needs to do that right now.
No,
You
it's
know.
not going to happen now. Don't get me wrong.
So
Mm-hmm.
he with him being the wise man, the advocate that he is, he has a plan. And that
Mm-hmm.
plan is to get that title. But how you do that, you have to add another piece to the puzzle to do that. And that
Right.
may and that may even we may even see Gunther align himself with Jey Uso only for a common enemy because of that.
We haven't seen that part of Gunther yet in his career.
I
We
know.
always see him solo as a champion, or he was the leader of a faction, the Imperium, right? So would Imperium get together just for shits and giggles? I'm just saying, it could be, but That's something that we'll stay tuned for its development with Gunther, with his faction, if there is one, if they could get together. But another faction we need to talk about is the Judgment Day, because the Judgment Day, for some odd reason, Finn Balor was so denial of wanting another member in the Judgment Day that weeks and weeks you kept mentioning about Finn Balor, talking about Roxanne Perez in the background, and yet now here she is trying to get herself into the group. And I feel like the storyline was similar when Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were in the group on JD McDonough.
The more I look at this, and I'm not gonna try to overthink it, I'm thinking that this could be a split, a voluntary split, to where now we have two factions going at it with each other. I mean, now that if he's trying to recruit Raquel Perez, I don't even see Judgment Day trying to kick him out now. Maybe he's trying to create something of his own, and we may see a split like the NWO, right? The NWO split and became two different entities of NWO, the black and white and the red and black. They did feud just a whole minute. So we could see something like this. Because if
You
Liv
think
Morgan,
JD McDonough will side with Finn Balor?
oh
If that was
yes,
to happen.
exactly. And that leaves Dirty Dom with Carlito, and that
But
you
there's
will
one
have
more. There's one more. AJ Styles.
AJ will go with Finn Balor, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
think because Finn Balor has a different view of things, I think now AJ Styles will probably respect the most.
okay, and if that were the case, now Dirty Dom has no other choice but to recruit like he's been trying to.
Mm-hmm.
Why not go after someone like Penta? Because I mean, look, I know you have a bad rap. Nobody likes you, but now you have to start seeing things from a whole different angle, and you have to start amending brokenness. Okay, because
But
Finn
things are
Balor,
gonna go bad for Dominic Mysterio, though.
you know what it did for Jey Uso before it became good, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he came to Raw by himself, everything was bad before it became good. He had to earn the locker room's trust all over again because he broke away from the bloodline. So Dirty Dom may have to wind up doing that same thing. Okay. I'm just, yeah, I get what you're saying right there,
Mm-hmm.
what we're going to talk about.
I
But
lie, I cheat, and I steal is going to be Dominic Mysterio's motto.
I mean, because he's getting kind of a pop in a way, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so why not? Because to me, Finn Balor is the more the bad guy here. You see what I'm saying? He is still jealous that he doesn't have that Intercontinental title around his waist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Okay,
he's never seen eye to eye with Liv Morgan.
right,
Raquel Rodriguez, well, that's her sisterhood, that tag team partner who's
right.
making movies and stuff like that. She's
Mm-hmm.
staring her down like, and that's a typical woman, right? When a new woman comes around, they quickly become judgmental. And yeah, and I could say that. It's not an opinion, it's facts. It's facts, right? You know, and it was like, you look suspect, but Roxanne Perez did something very unique. I
She
got
could
presents.
she could
Didn't she steal
be
that playbook from Liv Morgan?
yeah.
Remember, she got, what was it, a PlayStation or some game system, and then it's like redecorated their office or their hangout or something. But instead, she gave out apples to Carlito. Was it chicken nuggets to
Mm-hmm.
Dominic
Yes, sir.
Mysterio?
Yep.
He likes those Mickey D's, I tell you. Mm-hmm. So,
Got
anyways,
him. Got him.
the Judgment Day betrayal, is it gonna happen, or is it that we're focusing so much on them that maybe Roxanne Perez is playing a game?
I think I don't know if she's playing the game, but whatever Finn Balor is telling her,
Mm-hmm.
she's feeding into it, and this could be the beginning of something to where this Judgment Day is going to split. They're
Yeah,
gonna
Dominic
split.
Mysterio was just staring at Roxanne Perez, right? And it's similar to what he had done to Rhea Ripley.
Hmm.
I think that Dominic Mysterio might have a thing for Roxanne Perez.
Well, he's so young, dumb, and you know the rest of the story. I mean, that boy is just he doesn't
Player, player.
he don't know how to keep
Don't
his
hate the player, hate the
he,
game.
he just need to keep his eyes on his chicken nuggets.
He loved them nuggets.
He needs to keep his eyes on the chicken nuggets.
Anyways, the Money in the Bank briefcase. All right, the Money in the Bank is the next Premium Live event coming up, and I've made a prediction that I'm picking the man and the woman. Now I don't know all the players, but as of right now, you can tune into the HHW show website and the future prospects of this business on the main roster, the future stars. Okay. And normally I'm right about this. I've been 100% so far. I predicted that Cody Rhodes was going to be the man for the whole year. Um, Tiffany Stratton was going to be for the women's side. I'm picking Carmelo Hayes for the men, and I'm picking Roxanne Perez for the woman. I think these two superstars are going to be the next Money in the Bank winners. And I say that because since now Roxanne Perez is going on Raw, she could benefit from winning that briefcase. And Carmelo Hayes being on SmackDown, I think now it's time, and especially with the Miz on his side and everything else, I could see a point where he can become a world champion. The thing is that ain't gonna happen until John Cena actually retires.
Right. I could see the Roxanne Perez because of the angle we just talked about. You know, if the Judgment Day is going to split with her having that briefcase and flaunting it into Liv Morgan's face, that will cause more friction within the Judgment Day there with Finn Balor. I can see that. I like that angle.
Mm-hmm.
The Carmelo Hayes thing, I'm not really buying into that one just yet. If I had to pick somebody, because I just feel like the Miz is making it more about himself than about Carmelo Hayes here.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's gonna add to it to where the Miz gets back into the headlines for a world title should he win. You
right.
see what I'm saying?
I
Um,
mean I like I mean if LA Knight can get into this picture, I think why not him? He is the next mega star on SmackDown. I do believe. I mean, I'm going to agree that the Money in the Bank briefcase is going to go on SmackDown for the men's side. I do believe that, but why not LA Knight? If he dropped the United States title, I know he's been talking about trying to get that back. But if you have the opportunity to get that briefcase, then not look for the bigger picture. You got the whole. You get to hold that title. That means that briefcase for a while. John
right.
Cena leaves. Either John Cena leaves with the title or without the title. Now you have an opportunity to cash in without John Cena being around.
This is a hard sell that you're saying about LA Knight, especially that this Friday he will be involved in a triple threat match
Right.
for the qualifying match. But you have
Yeah.
Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
And I feel as though Solo Sikoa is going to do whatever he got to do to maintain his status quo, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that he will have some influence or something hands on to prevent LA Knight from qualifying.
And I do agree with you, but the one thing I would add to that is that in the past we've had seen superstars get a second opportunity to qualify after they've
Right.
lost. So if LA was to get screwed out of this, Aleister Black qualifies. If there's no one else on the SmackDown roster to qualify, why not
Well,
give LA Knight a second opportunity to get in
well,
there?
here's another thing, is that I say that now, but while you're talking everything, I thought about Aleister Black. He still got issues with Carmelo Hayes.
Right.
That is unsolved. So what if not? What is it? What if Carmelo Hayes gets involved? If he does, then that pick that I just made is gonna be wrong. because it's going to be karma.
Right.
So I think LA Knight you might have a point. LA Knight could win this match, and not seeing that Shinsuke Nakamura might be a guy that's just a fill-in because we haven't seen him in action, I think, a couple of times this year already. So I don't see him doing anything.
Yeah, because see, I mean, it could go both ways for what we're saying here because we know Solo is already qualified.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so it would make sense if LA was to qualify. Now they're both into this in this Money in the Bank match. They can
Right.
go at it, right? But on
Right.
the other hand, if Aleister Black was to qualify, now you would think Carmelo Hayes will qualify,
He's gonna
right?
have to. Yes.
Exactly, and then they both will have. You need a feud in the match
And that
somehow.
and that jealousy also could be for the Miz because why not he not get involved? So I feel
Right.
like the Money in the Bank briefcase is gonna go to someone that's young, hasn't had a title shot ever, and expose them for that camera. And that's why I said that it's more fulfilling for Carmelo Hayes. But he is the Andre the Giant winner. And most of the time when you win the Andre the Giant, you just don't succeed in the WWE.
Yeah, and LA Knight to me, I know I have been guilty of it, and a lot of people have said it. They're comparing him to the Stone Cold Steve Austin's, to the Ric Flairs, because he has the mic skills,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and he has the in-ring ability skills, okay. He's got the total package as the next superstar to take SmackDown to the next level, okay.
Right.
John Cena is just there holding that title, but the future is right in front of us. And LA Knight is going to be that future champion. If not now, he's going to be that champion. He looks good with that title around his waist because he can talk on the mic. He knows how to carry himself. And he can, because in the beginning, Stone Cold Steve Austin was just the ringmaster until he found himself. And the moniker and then the creation of Stone Cold came about. That's when he started winning, right?
Right.
But before that, there was nothing. LA Knight had to start somewhere, and now he's getting there. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that he could be that next one that can carry this business, that can carry that blue brand to the next level. Now, I know Cody Rhodes is on a leave of absence. He's going to be back, and so where does that play in? But you're right. Why not give that briefcase to someone fresh, someone new, someone who's the future? Someone who's going to carry this business into the next decade, because we need to see that, right? We've seen it before, and it's carried on time after time, generation after generation. Okay, we don't have those old timers anymore. They're already being pushed out the doors. The future is now. Okay, Seth Rollins, the Roman Reigns, the Jacob Fatus, the LA Knights, the Carmelo Hayes, the Roxanne Perez. These are the ones now that are going to start taking our kids into the future of wrestling.
Right.
You see, so we have. I mean, I agree. We have to see that.
Right.
You know,
But you know what? We're not gonna see it is from the women's side of the house because Julia is debuting SmackDown. She was with Roxanne Perez, but now she's officially on SmackDown. Zelina Vega's the United States champion. And then you got Charlotte Flair. Now, Alexa Bliss and Rhea Ripley both clinched their way to the Money in the Bank for the chance to become the women's champion. Two former world champions, and now you're gonna see a third one in Charlotte Flair. And I don't like it, but it's gonna happen.
could they pull a Monday Night Raw on SmackDown?
Well, Charlotte Flair, who does Charlotte Flair got beef with now? I mean,
I'm
her
just
beef with Tiffany Stratton's done and over with. She's not gonna do anything about it. She got too much on her plate right now.
Jay Cargill.
They just stare down. I mean, they haven't put their hands on each other.
I
But
get
I
it,
mean, we could reserve it for Jay Cargill to be in the qualifying match.
right?
All right. But I think that maybe if Bianca Belair gets healthy and be back on time, she might enter this also. And I would love to see all the world champions go at it. I mean, that's what it seems like because I don't see anyone other than was it Roxanne Perez, right?
Hmm.
She's probably the only one, but I still feel like she's going to win. This is that's the thing. I think like the underdog is Roxanne Perez when you put all the heavy hitters in there, and she's going to stand out.
Yeah.
Yep. But I
Uh,
got Charlotte Flair winning this weekend.
yeah, I hate to say that because again, you got Julia, who's a new face, fresh meat. The future right there. Why sign her just for her not to qualify?
Would you match it with Charlotte Flair and on your first match though? And then you got Zelina Vega is probably the shortest out of all three.
Oh yeah, definitely she is. But it's a statement that you have to prove if you're gonna step up to the main roster because she did great on NXT. She was world champion down there
Mm-hmm.
for quite some time. Okay, and
Yeah.
now you moved up to the main roster. There's a reason why you've been in the big leagues now, and so you cannot cut short. You cannot take shortcuts. You got to face the big dogs. And to me, Charlotte Flair is not 100%. And I think if Julia could take advantage of that, then she could pull out the upset here and win this match. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Julia.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Listen, Saturday night's main event is popping up, and the main event will be this match right here. It's a tag team match between Sami Zayn, CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins and Braun Breaker. I'll lead it off for every match right here, and I'm gonna tell you that Seth Rollins is going and Braun Breaker. They're gonna win this match. With all that hype and everything else, the spotlight goes to Seth Rollins. I think he's gonna get the upper hand and win this match.
I agree. I completely agree. Why why start something if you cannot finish it? Um, they got they're in the heads of Sami Zayn and CM Punk. They're in their heads. Okay, they're playing mind games here with them, and
Hmm.
so they have the advantage right now. And so I think that will take them into this match and win this match. I can see Braun Breaker doing all the work and and Seth Rollins finishing it off.
Yeah. Or could we get a surprise? Will there be a superstars to surprise us all?
Yeah, Sami Zayn turning his back on CM Punk.
You're so into that. Why? Why you so obsessed to that? Why?
Because with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, they got a
It
trick up their
doesn't
sleeve.
make sense.
You know
You
what?
gotta be logical. Like you should after Monday Night Raw, you should have just changed your mind. Why would Sami Zayn do something like that after he talked to Jay Uso? Come on, man.
You could talk to somebody all day, but that could
Oh,
just be mind games you're playing right there.
you ain't playing. Man, stop.
Playing
Cons-
mind
you
games.
you're trying to create a conspiracy.
How other way you gonna get to Jay Uso but through Sami Zayn?
It's not gonna
It's
happen.
okay. Fair enough. I
Sami Zayn could be broken. Kevin Owens could come back from his surgery and distract everything, just ruin everything. Randy Orton could come back for crying out loud. I don't know. Now,
Or Cody Rhodes get the mic and says, "What do you want to talk about?" That would ruin everything.
oh yeah, it's Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. I got Jey Uso retaining the title.
Yeah, Jey Uso is going to win this match because Logan Paul doesn't benefit winning this title if Seth Rollins is going after it. I'm
But I
sorry.
tell you what, Logan Paul is finally in a deep, deep storyline with Gunther, with Seth Rollins and Jey Uso. So
Yeah,
he's finally getting a big piece of the pie. Just he went from just one on one and then leave. Now he's just really knee deep in these storylines. I'm liking it.
do
I'm like
you
he needs it.
could you see him aligning with Seth Rollins?
Absolutely. but at what cost? Because if you think that I'm gonna trust Logan Paul with me,
Right.
hell no.
And that's why I asked that, because you can't trust Logan Paul.
No, but why not align with Seth Rollins? That's like seeing the evolution, but you can't trust them.
I know.
That whole faction you can't trust. which faction would you rather be? Seth Rollins, Judgment Day, or or the Bloodline?
Shoot.
Who is the most deviousest one?
I would say the Judgment Day right now.
Oh man, I'd say Seth
But
Rollins, man.
it,
He's
it,
all about himself though.
if he was to align with Seth Rollins, then 100% we're going to get a Gunther flip.
All right.
Gunther is changing sides if this was to happen, because now you get to match up Logan Paul and Gunther without a title involved.
And it started with him shaking hands with Pat McAfee.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Yep. You need to sell it with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole.
Yeah.
Yep. You start with the speakers, then you blend in with the rest, and sooner or later you're just a fan favorite. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Um John Cena and R-Truth. I'm laughing because I'm like, this has got to be the most laughable moment of the night. Um, I mean, who can't see who? That's all
I
I'm
think they both
saying.
can hear me. You better be careful with little Jimmy might interfere in this
And the
match.
thing is that both of them had a short rivalry against each other, with R2 talking to little Jimmy, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I think that this is going to be the turning point for John Cena. The last PLE, John Cena almost converted to realize his wrongdoings and his approach. And there was a take where he was emotional, then he got back into his role. And I feel like after this match, we may see John Cena more so than ever crossing over back to who he is. You know, there's got to be something into this that will make The Rock come back to WWE.
Could it
You will,
not be?
to be my champion, you're gonna convert to somebody else that brings back The Rock. Something's gonna boil. I mean, because why start it with The Rock and not end it with The Rock? Look at Hulk Hogan, who was the leader of the NWO, to go after The Rock after the match when the Hulk Hogan was giving that respect to The Rock, and then the rest of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash came and discussed, and they tried to jump on Hulk Hogan. The Rock came and saved him, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's gonna happen with him, but somebody else, like it's gonna happen.
I would like to see the opposite spectrum of it, that we get John Cena to take out R-Truth to the point where R-Truth drops his comedic role and start getting back into being serious. You know, start taking things really serious now, and seeing that what John Cena is doing is something that's really serious and not a joke anymore. You see, because I'm starting to believe a little that R-Truth could be the reason why this man loses this title. If John Cena
Really?
is going to lose, if John Cena is going to lose the title, if he's going to lose it, it could be because of R-Truth.
That's deep.
Because R-Truth keeps talking about he's my childhood hero. He always looked up to him. He always emulated him when he was in the ring, right? And now you're stepping into the ring with your childhood hero, and you're fixing to get a mud hole stomped in you because you don't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
When is the jokes going to be put to a side and start understanding that John Cena is a different person now, And if you can't change him, you got to change yourself and start taking things seriously. Because if John Cena is going to talk the talk, he's going to walk away with that title. He's going to leave us with no title. And Cody Rhodes is going to have nothing to talk about. I'm just saying. We're going to be titleless over there on SmackDown.
There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one the way you put it. You're gonna run out of things to talk about. Oh boy.
Because who else can take who else would take that? Who right now is going to take that title from him? If he's done with Randy Orton, who on SmackDown is going to take that title? Cody Rhodes when he comes back? We're running out of time.
Yeah, and I think that Cody Rhodes could make his presence on this one just because knowing the history of John Cena after the match, or he finds a way to use the belt to hit people with it, right? This could cause for Cody Rhodes to come out, maybe intervene, maybe cost the match for R-Truth or something. And the fact that maybe we will have a SummerSlam between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. I don't want that to happen, but I think it might. It might be.
Because I'm trying to picture a world without a title on SmackDown, with John Cena speaking the truth, saying that he's going to walk away with that title.
You cannot erase history.
That you can't. You're right.
And that's what I don't believe that he will. But you notice that when John Cena and CM Punk, when they had their rivalry, CM Punk won and walked away with the belt. And they made another one.
Right.
So it's never going to go away.
No, you're right. But could John Cena hold to his word and walk away with that title?
I always said change that title to a spinner, and then you could walk away with it. That's just my opinion. I don't know. All right, but hey, listen, more to follow on that. One last match, and there's no other than a steel cage match between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Damian Priest lost the match at WrestleMania, and here we are battling against each other. And I feel like in this match, Damian Priest has an advantage to beat Drew McIntyre. So I'm taking Priest in this match.
I'm taking Priest, but I don't think he has an advantage because I thought he had advantage in the street fight and he lost that. So I don't know.
He's not going to go over on this one.
No, but Drew McIntyre has shown a history of wanting to go in a 2 out of 3 fall series with folks. So yeah, I think that's where this is going here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Speaking about it, we started the show with our theme in this, and there's no other than I lie, I cheat, and I steal. Okay. And this one, again, looking at Dominic Mysterio, what he has done, right? And I feel like he's bringing it back. Okay. But what does it mean, though? What does it mean? The phrase I lie, I cheat, and I steal became iconic in the WWE with the late Hall of Famer Eddie Guerrero, a beloved and charismatic professional wrestler known for his clever in-ring antics and undeniable charm. So in the early 2000s, that's between 2003 and 2005, Guerrero's time as a fan favorite, he will use those antics to get an upper hand. And that was the catchphrase that people believed in. They bought merchandise for and everything else. Okay. And he would be famous for pretending to get hit with a chair and fooling the referee, using hidden weapons or distractions, or playing dumb or innocent after cheating. Right. And the culture impact in all this is that despite seemingly negative words, fans loved Eddie for his cleverness, heart, and humility. It became a symbol of overcoming odds and using wit when brute strength or fairness alone wouldn't cut it. And I'm definitely talking about with his match with Eddie and Brock Lesnar. So the takeaway of all this is the deeper lesson behind I lie, I cheat, and I steal isn't about encouraging bad behavior. No, no, no. It's about being resourceful and survival. You know, Eddie's character reflected on the struggles of the underdog. He had to play the system to survive the tough world. This resonated with many fans who felt like they've been overlooked or underestimated, right? He embraced the flaws with humor. You know, it's all right to not be perfect. He acknowledged and used it wisely. And in return, excuse me, he built that strength. And there was this identity and pride that we all enjoy, and we Latinos always love this, right? He represented the Latino heritage proudly. His persona blended humor, culture, resilience, teaching fans to own who they are. And the legacy. Eddie's action in the ring were exaggerated entertainment, but his message was real. You don't have to be perfect to be great. He turned a controversial phrase into a source of pride. And in summary, you know, I lie, I cheat, I steal isn't lesson in bad morals. It's a story once again about resilience, wit, and cultural pride, showing in that sometimes life isn't fair, and we must find creative ways to win while staying true to who you are. And that is a big takeaway there. And we can all relate to that. Um, Got to have that upper hand. And I know, Hector, you could chime in. You are the pastor of the HHW show. I'm sure you got more to this story or to this
Yeah,
takeaway.
yeah. I mean, I see where you're coming from with this. I'm trying to look at it from the standpoint of what you're talking about because in reality, when you say you're gonna lie, you cheat, you steal, it's not morally correct to do in life. You know what I'm saying? When we teaching our kids, to do the right thing in life. Um, but the thing is, our culture nowadays have condoned lying, cheating, and stealing. Okay, and I was doing, a study on this one question about doing whatever it takes to get the job done. And it's crazy how we're talking about this. And I was just, answering this question on a study a couple of days ago. It, yeah, it comes down to Eddie Guerrero did what he had to do, whatever it took to get the job done. And we look at it and we condone it because we cheered for him to do it. But we have to be careful in life when our kids are looking at that because they're going to think that it's okay to do it, and we have to be able to teach them the true morals of these things. you know because bad behavior includes rationalization. And when you look at that big word rationalization, and it's almost like a psychological defense mechanism in our brain where individuals, they justify their thoughts, they justify their feelings, or they justify their behaviors with seemingly logical reasonings. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm getting too big into these kind of things, but with Eddie, it was fun the way we saw it. But for the mature audience, we know right from wrong. Okay, we know that in the workplace, lying, cheating, and stealing is not going to get us advancement. Is it fair that somebody does it and advance? No, it's not fair. But karma is going to come back to get them sooner or later. But if we
Mm-hmm.
if we continue to do the right thing, whether we get overlooked 1,000 times, we will be rewarded justly eventually. Okay, people who lie, cheat, and steal take the shortcuts to the top, as we've seen with Eddie De Guerrero. A lot of his victories, he had to do that because he could not win fair and square. We know Eddie could do it because he became world heavyweight champion with that frog splash at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. You know what I'm saying? So we know he could do it. But it's all entertainment. But in life, it's not entertainment when we're trying to do things for our personal selves, when it comes to for the real world.
I
Okay.
think I think no matter what job you do, your career, occupation, whatever, there's always someone that's going to cut through the competition.
Right.
Always. We've seen it in the military. We've seen
Yeah.
it. Everyone wants to brag about, oh, I did this, I did that, and they forget
Hmm.
that, especially leaders or not commissioned officers in the United States Army, what that creed says in the first sentence, no one's more professional than I.
Right.
But people do act upon that to yeah, because they want to get ahead,
Right.
right? Um, and there's a lot of pressure when you play those games. There's a lot of pressure,
Hmm.
okay? And individuals will love to take cut corners. You are absolutely right. Exaggerated qualifications, take credit for others, work to get ahead. And Eddie Guerrero, many justify as doing what they must to survive or succeed. And then nowadays, that's what you need to do. This world. I mean, listen, we're seeing it on television now. It's exposed. You know,
Hmm.
Politicians are doing it every single moment. I didn't
Yeah.
say day, I say every moment because
Hmm.
they could stretch the truth, spin narratives, or cheat the system to gain votes or pass agendas.
Right.
It's over exaggerated today. Over exaggerated. Okay. And everyone builds on being popular. And what's the number one source to gain popularity? Social media.
Right.
You say one little dumb thing and boom, it's out there. But you say one good thing, no one's gonna share
Oh, I know. I can testify to that a thousand and
it.
one times. Yes.
So, like, just as Eddie used the flaws to connect with fans, some politicians use real talk or controversial language to win over audiences by appearing authentic or one of the people. Yeah, right. I never seen you in my neighborhood. Um, and it's important to be informed,
And
right?
that's like that word catfish. People be catfishing, right?
Yes,
That's
yes,
exactly what
yes,
it is.
yes. Look, the final take word in all this. And again, you can spin it around in which way directions when you talk about I lied, I cheat, I steal. Okay. But the gray areas people walk to survive or succeed, right? Um, you just gotta be careful. Okay. I know sometimes people do it for good intentions, but there are those that are evil, very evil. The mask worn to get ahead in unfair systems. Ooh, can you live with yourself? Can you deal with that? And the charm of underdogs who use wit to fight giants. But the
Mhm.
lesson of all this, if you must bend the rules, do it so with heart,
Right.
humor, and humanity.
Right.
Never cruelty, greed, or destruction.
Right.
Okay. Like Eddie Guerrero, you can be clever and still be good.
Yeah,
You can play
definitely.
the system along with everybody else, but there's this thing called respect at the very end.
Hmm.
Can you live with yourself if you do it?
Right. Exactly. I agree. I completely agree 100% what you just said right there.
Mhm.
Sometimes we do have to bend the rules. I mean, I get it. Sometimes, we have to bend it just to get the things to work the way we need them to work because the way they're supposed to work is not working that way. So
Yeah,
I get it,
I know some people like to go by the book. That was just a figure of speech, though.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
let's do it by the book. But then you do it by the book, and you're still stuck. You're still stagnant, and
Right.
everybody else will pass you because they found that loophole. You're like, yo, forget you, man. I gotta do me, you know. And sadder to say, when it comes to money, you do whatever it takes to put more money in their pockets.
More money, more
So
problems.
you didn't know? Somebody used to tell me not all money's good money.
Exactly.
Want to play spades?
But I will tell you that money is not always the root of all is not the root of all evil.
No,
No, it's not.
no, no, no. But hey, this is a great show, Hector.
Yes, yes, it
Thank
was.
you. Big shout out to Frank. We miss you. And to all the fans supporting us on the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. I'll be back next week with we're tuning into Wrestling with Character that's coming up So I'm hoping I get some visitors onto that. But if not, listen, we got another show, and just stay tuned with us, man, because we're just having fun. More fantasy tournaments and much more wrestling. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. So tune
Amen.
in to the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. Take care, everyone. Oh,
Yeah.
big shout out to the military. It's Memorial
Memorial
Day weekend.
Day.
Much love to all my brothers. Later.